Hi guys, Arthur here from Homeowner DIY. In today's video, I am going to be working on a 2012 Infiniti EX35. Now, this is my neighbor's car and there is a check engine light. The code is PO462, which is fuel float sensor. Circuit A. Generally, when this happens, the fuel sending unit, which is the fuel float, is not working properly anymore. Guys, this thing is mechanical, so it will wear out over time like anything else. Now, my neighbor said he already pulled the code, so I'm going to verify for you guys before we move to the next step. But one reason you'd want to do this on your own is because when you take it to the mechanic shop, they can, really tell you anything they want. So by verifying yourself, first of all, you're going to save the diagnostic fee. And then second of all, they may charge you for a more expensive part that isn't the problem. And we've all heard our horror stories with mechanics. So with that in mind, what we'll do is the tool list, and then we'll get started. Alright, this is our tools list. So because we're dealing with gas, we'll have latex gloves, socket set, safety glasses, multimeter, and then the OBD2 scanner. Guys, this is what I believe I need for tools for this job. So let's get started. Alright guys, the car is in the on position. We see the check light on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the code first. Alright, so this is our plug right here. This is for our OBD2 scanner. So all we're going to do is just plug it in. Alright, so that's plugged in. Now the car needs to be set to the on position before we can pull a code. Alright, so this says read. What we'll do is turn this to the on position. And we have a PO462 code. Alright, so for the fuel pump and fuel sending unit, it is on the passenger. So this is the passenger side here. So the code PO462 says fuel level sensor circuit A. We need to pull this seat up, so we have a handle here. So pull and then pry the seat up. You're going to need two hands to do this. But with that out of the way, this is what we're looking for here. So these are Phillips. So with this design here, all you have to do is turn it. So this is perpendicular. Turn it till it lines up. Do it for all four and you should be able to pull it out. Alright, so we're going to turn the tabs. You will turn them to the right. And then we'll pry the cover off. So this is our plug, and then this is our fuel line. Alright, so for a plug, you need to depress it here to slide this piece off. I can't do a hole in the camera. Okay, so depress this, and then all I did was took the screwdriver and then I slid that back to get it off. Now, for our fuel line here, you need to depress these tabs in here and then pull this fuel line off. Guys, have rags on hand. And also, I'm going to put on some safety glasses just in case fuel squirts everywhere. But make sure that your electronics, like this here, doesn't get soaked with any fuel. Okay, you can see the bubbling is now slowing down. I'll wait until it stops, but make sure that the bubbling stops before you do anything else. Alright, with this now done bubbling, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Phillips bit, and I'm going to take all the screws out, and we should be able to pull out this unit. So I'm going to go in a star pattern just out of force of habit. I don't think it really matters all that much. Alright, so there's a ring. So this one is clean. If it's dirty, if it's caked with dust, make sure you clean it off first so you don't get the contamination into your fuel tank. Okay, so this is our assembly here. We need to take this off, otherwise we're not going to be able to pull the unit out. Alright, so to detach this, what we'll do is okay, so to take this off, depress these two tabs and then gently wiggle it off. But now we have our unit. This is our float, so we'll take it to the bench and then we'll do a test on this. Alright, so we're going to test our fuel sending unit. So this is our float here, and then we have two contacts here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the ohm reading, which is 200 for this. So at the bottom, the range should be between 3 ohms and 80 ohms. So there's a red and black wire that come off the top of the fuel sending unit. So I'm connecting the black to black, red to red with the ohm setting of 200 ohms for this test. We're at 82 ohms. So we'll connect the two. It says about 82. So we're going to lift the float. And it's 2.8. 82 and 2.8. Which means the fuel sending unit is fine. That is not what the problem is. Alright, so we're going to reinstall the unit. Alright, that is good. So now let's get the unit back inside. So for this surface here, if there's any debris, clean it off first. And guys, this is spring loaded, so you see how it's up. We push down, and it'll push itself back up. So that is perfectly fine. We'll take our ring. And then you're going to line the ring up and the holes together. So you're going to go off of your fuel hose, line the two up, put the ring on top, and then screw the whole thing back down. Alright, so we're going to, guys, make sure that you line this up so these little tabs go into the hole. Alright, so it clicks on, we're good. And now for this, so this is the tab that when you depress this end, it'll lift the tab that's right underneath here. Click that back on. And then this is opposite of what it would normally be. So turn these to the left and then close it. And then I'll grab the fabric, I'll put that back on. And then I'll put the seats back in. Alright, so the fabric is back in. So this hook will go into this right there. It is just like a plug to a typical outlet. Alright guys, so that concludes this project. So I don't believe it's the fuel sending unit is the issue. It's slightly out of spec, but I believe it's working properly. I read online a very common problem with this is, or another cause of this problem is a capacitor in the cluster. But I already talked to the owner of the car, and he's been doing what I would suggest. If your fuel gauge isn't working properly, just refill your tank and then reset your trip odometer. So every 300 kilometers or 200 miles, reset the trip odometer after you fill up the tank, and then you'll gauge by distance, and then you can run without a working fuel gauge. My dad did this for a long time in his car, and instead of spending however much money it's going to cost, that is a simple solution to this problem. When I did call the fuel pump fuel sending unit, that's the entire assembly that I pulled out, I was told it was over $1,000. I was told that you have to buy it as one big piece. On the other hand, I have seen online where the person just replaced the fuel sending unit separately. So I'm not familiar with this car, but I would say if you really do want to replace this piece, then go ahead and do your research online, because if you can save money just by replacing the one thing, that is the way I'd go about it. The time on this job. The time was about an hour. I didn't run into any problems. Everything went really well. The cost of this job. The cost was nothing. I had the sockets already and the scanner. Guys, this is another example with the scanner. I paid, what, $75 for it, and in this case here, I just paid the scanner off, because to pull an engine code, here locally it's probably about $120 plus tax. Your area will probably differ, but this is one of those things where an OBD2 scanner, it is good for almost every car that is not a high-end model like a Mercedes, BMW, Range Rover, or something higher end. They'll have their own system. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. I hope something here is going to help you on your project when you need to go ahead and do that. Guys, till next time, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next project.